What are you doing, Sean?
Throwing boxes out the window. We're gonna have a bonfire tonight.
This is what happens when almost everything you get is ordered from Amazon or Kiwi.com or...
It won't fit!
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh.
This tea kettle sits on our stove all year long. We use it quite a bit. It's pretty dirty. It's been sitting here for almost 10 years. Actually, I think 10 years. I think I bought this tea kettle 10 years ago. And what it's special, I always remember this. I think a lot about this. This was the last sort of real world shopping, Christmas shopping trip. And when I mean real world Christmas shopping trip, in 2012, I believe it was 2012, it might have been 2011, I went with my mom and dad to Washington Square Mall in Evansville, Indiana, to the Sears store. Now this is one of the big flagship sort of Sears stores with 2 stories and escalator. And this was one of those places that I remember as a kid, you know, kind of like the magical world. If you grew up in the 80s, 90s, you remember the Sears wish book, the Christmas catalog that came, and that was a huge part of your life, going through this catalog, and it had everything, you know, that you could want. At this time, Walmart had a pretty small toy section, so we didn't have a toy store in town, and to see all of these things in this catalog was just so cool. And I studied this catalog endlessly, and then we would take trips to the mall every now and again when I was a kid. You know, we'd Christmas shop, pick out presents and stuff like that. And it was just one of those really special, you know, things growing up. The Sears, the escalator, the Christmas sort of hustle and bustle, and the decorations and all of that stuff, which at the time, you know, I thought was really, you know, pretty cool as a kid, and as I became a young adult, pretty lame. And now I kind of miss it in a way, because now we shop online. I mean, for the most part, I haven't shopped really for a Christmas gift seriously since I bought this in like 2012. So I remember this. It was a fairly late night. Shauna was working, and I knew I needed to get her another gift. And my mom and dad were going to this mall, to this smaller Evansville mall where the Sears was, and Dad was hoping to buy a microwave. And so I remember distinctly how small, like, the mall had become, like how empty it had become. They closed off sections of it. There was still quite a few stores. I mean, it was 2012, there was still stores there, but there was way more empty stores and filled stores. And the Sears store, even though this was like December 23rd or December 22nd, the Sears store was mostly dead. It was like a Saturday night, you know. There was people still shopping, but it wasn't insanely busy like you might expect on like a night so close to Christmas. And the shopping experience back then was way more like you know, there were salesmen. And I remember my dad went to the home area, you know, and he's searching around for a microwave, and he starts working with the salesman to try to come up with a better price, a better deal. And she's talking to him about how, you know, like, the sale isn't going to last long, and I can knock 5% off. And my dad's going back and forth, wheeling and dealing, and my mom's looking around, and I decide this tea kettle is just what we need. I knew kind of when I was there, I could feel it, that this was kind of like a dying thing. This type of store, this big department store. Sears is gone now. That store closed in 2018, but in reality, the last couple times me and Shauna went there to check it out, half the Sears store was just completely empty sales floor. There just wasn't anything there. There's a lot of convenience about shopping online. You can get anything you want. you don't really know. I remember taking this out of the box and looking at it, and you can't do that on Amazon. You just hope it's what it says it is, and there was just something really special about looking through all this stuff and all this and picking out the what I thought was the perfect tea kettle from the limited selection that they had, you know. But it's something that maybe one day it'll come back. Maybe everybody will realize how much better shopping in person really was, and retail stores will come back, but I doubt it. And you know, we won't get to ride those escalators up to the second floor and see what Christmas decorations and what displays have been set up for Christmas this year. So I kind of miss it. I hate to say it, I kind of miss it.